Well, the weekend has begun, and as you know, there's going to be a lot of pro wrestling reviews for all of you. So, right now, we have six that we're going to be talking about. The first one, as you know, this is from, of course, NXT Level Up, which I did not did not actually reviewed and put it on an episode, but I'm able to do it on this one. This one features, of course, two matches, which is going to be a little interesting to watch. And then we move on with ChocoPro number 373. We have some very impressive matches taking place as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. And then, of course, we move on with more with New Japan Pro Wrestling, with, of course, you know, continuing on with the best of the Super Juniors. So we're in day 5. However, both blocks are in the same show, and of course, this is the hometown of Hiromu Takahashi. However, his opponent had better ideas. I'll get to that creep in a little bit. And then we move on with Stardom's latest pay-per-view, Flashing Champions. We do have a number one contendership for the Artist belts in a gauntlet match. We do have, of course, the TBS title defended. Willow Nightingale making her, I'm not sure if it's her debut in Stardom, but however, she faces Tam Nakano. Sayuri Inoue defends her white belt against Ami Suri. So that's going to be a lot of interesting matches as well. And then we move on with two back-to-back AEW shows with Collision and, of course, Rampage. And then we cap it up with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, and some developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, the factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert. If something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed, we will announce it ASAP. And of course, we do the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button. And of course, if you want to leave us a nice comment, you can do that in the description, down in the description below. Now, all introductions are set aside. I believe it's time to get this show on the road. So let's begin with, of course, NXT Level Up. Okay, NXT Level Up. It opened up with Tavon Heights taking on a wrestler I never heard of before, but this guy is humongous, Jasper Troy. Now, you would think that Tavon Heights, with his, of course, collegiate and technical paralysis as a wrestler, would have paid out would play out very well in this match. Well, it kind of did, because I mean, Jasper Troy is such a big dude, but he was able to apply a belly-to-belly suplex and giving himself a good win. Now, for before our next match even begins, Sarah interviews Brinley Reese and her new tag partner named Layla Diggs. Now, apparently, that they both are in the same kind of, you know, page where they like to work, train together, do motivation, whatever they do. But however, they will be in a match taking on, of course, a fantastic wrestling duo that been making appearance in NXT Level Up for quite some time. That is, of course, Carly Bright and Kendall Gray. Now, I think I was a bit more biased in this match for many reasons. One, um, because I feel like that everybody's in the same page. I think they're probably in the same class. I'm not 100% sure on that level, but however, I did notice. Of course, Kendall and Carly are on the same page, but however, I didn't know how this was going to end. But it was impressive when uh, Brinley applied a somewhat cartwheel into a DDT onto onto Carly. I'm like, wow, that was pretty cool. I thought it was a pretty amazing win, and I wasn't too sure if she was ready to pick up the win yet. But nonetheless, she got her first win. So we'll see what happens down the road for her. But at this moment, let's move on with our next review, and I believe that is ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro number 373. Now, this initially happened on the 12th of May, but it wasn't uploaded on their Got to Move page until the 18th. Now, it opened up with the Best Bros opening the show, giving the lowdown on the matches of the day, yada yada yada. But it's always great to see the Best Bros keeping us company while we wait for our first match. Now, our first match, we have Miya Yatsuba and Antonio Honda teaming up for the first time. They take on Sayaka and Masahiro Takanashi. Now, it's not the first time that I've seen Sayaka team up with Masahiro Takanashi. There were times, of course, Masa does not rely on his partner that much. But, however, this is also interesting that now Antonio and Masa are on the opposite side from each other. We have seen them team on various occasions, but I don't know how this one was going to work. I mean, Mia, as you know, she's barely getting her bearings in as a pro wrestler, not to mention coming back after taking some time off after the loss of her father. But I have to say, she really is getting used to it now. However, she was not the one who initiated the win on this match. It was, of course, Antonio Honda with the bridge, which has helped them win a bunch of matches and very helpful. So that's how it ended right there. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting match. We have Iri Kane faces against Transam Hiroshi. Now, if you guys ever seen Transam Hiroshi, that dude likes to sing and gets everybody in the mood. One of my favorite moments is when he got himself and various other people in the mat. They were singing "We Will Rock You." So, as soon as the music was over, it's like, let's get back to business. However, for some odd reason, this match ended in an opera tune between both Hiroshi and Iri. I didn't know what the hell to make of it. I'm like, when did this become a opera house? But nonetheless, it worked. But unfortunately, it was Transam Hiroshi with the backslide onto Iri to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting trios match. Team number one, we have Sayaka Obihiro teaming with Chiko Shikawa and Masahiro Takanashi W. Now, for some of you who don't know who this guy is, Masahiro Takanashi W is basically an impersonator who dresses like Masa. And they face against Nona Kaseto and, of course, our current Asian Dream Tag Team Champions, the Best Bros. Now, of course, the initial assumption, if somehow the Best Bros are pinned in this match, more than likely they will be challenged for their tag belts. However, that wasn't the case. It was Obihiro with the Obi Magic onto Nona Kaseto that allowed her to pick up the win. Now, for our Junkin tournament, this was a very interesting one. Masahiro did not even pass the first round. Uh, we know that the Best Bros made it all the way, but in fact, however, May made it all the way to the finals until she dealt with Antonio Honda and eventually lost. So, yep, that's how it ended right there in ChocoPro. So, just like that. I think that's pretty much it right now with ChocoPro. I believe it's time for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, we now are in day 5 of the Best of the Super Juniors, where all junior heavyweight competitors compete. However, in this particular day, that they were in the hometown of the Time Bomb himself, Hiromu Takahashi. But however, when he was addressing to the fans, he was attacked by that no good piece of garbage, Show. Of course, Show was going to show up because he does not want to wrestle him. He knows he can lose to him, so that's what the whole point was with him. But however, we'll get to that in a bit. Now let's get to the first matches. Our first match we have is from the A block, Kosei Fujita versus Clark Connors. Now, of course, these two guys used to be young lions themselves, but at different timings. But however, Kosei Fujita had learned a lot from, of course, his mentor and a proud papa himself, Zack Sabre Jr. I was impressed with Kosei Fujita for one specific reason. He applied a brand new submission move. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it worked. And of course, Clark Connors lost this match, and allowing for Kosei Fujita right now to get his next 2 points with 2 wins. Let me see. Yes. Yeah. Kosei Fujita is currently with 2 wins and 2 losses with 4 points. As for Clark Connors, he is also in the same predicament as him, 2 wins and 2 losses. Now, jumping to the B block, we have Dragon Dia versus Drilla Maloney. Now, Dragon Dia is currently winless in this tournament, but Maloney, I believe he had about, um, let's see, yeah, just 1 win and 1 loss. But however, that changed when he applied the Driller Killer, allowing him to pick up the win with 2 points. So right now he is currently with 4 points with just 2 wins and 2 losses. However, Dragon Dia is currently without any wins at all. I mean, he somehow has to pick up some wins, but we'll see. Our next match we have Hayata versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Now, these two guys are no strangers from each other. Those who know this or not, Kanemaru, who I think is a piece of garbage, just like, of course, Sho, and Hayata actually know each other from their time in Pro Wrestling Noah. So it's kind of interesting. Like, you look at Kanemaru, who is one of the top juniors up there during that time in Noah, facing against the current top juniors in Noah as well. But however, of course, he was going to play dirty tricks on it. But however, Hayata knows how to play dirty himself as well when it suits him. When the referee was out, he low blowed Hayata low blowed Kanemaru, and then after that, he applied a 305 impact, and just like that, it was over. I'm sure Yoshinobu Kanemaru is not so happy with the result, but it is what it is. Now, of course, the point system for Hayata, he has 4 points. That means he is 2-2. As for what's his name, Kanemaru, I think he is currently 1 win and 2 losses with just 2 points. Now back to the B block, we have Ninja Mac versus Doiki. I think this is a very interesting match. Now, initially I was biased on this one for many reasons because I'm a fan of these two. Now Doiki, I often said myself, I do believe he could be my fan. He's the one of two picks to win the tournament. So that's the thing. However, it took multiple times for Doiki to apply the Doki Joki, but when he finally applied it, it was completely over. However, the record is, as we speak, with 4 points each, 2 wins and 2 losses each. So that's pretty much it. Now back to A block, we have Bushi versus TJP. Now, however, since the start of the tournament, both gentlemen were even winless. So this is one of those matches where someone has to pick up the win. And I think that's a very important one. And I think people might have presumed TJP could do it because A, he has stepped up to become the team captain of United Empire, and this would be an embarrassing thing to do. However, that kind of changed until um, TJP got blacklisted by Bushi, and then of course the Bushi rolled, and just like that, it was completely over. However, as I said before, both of these gentlemen were winless until Bushi got finally his first 2 points. Now moving on back to A block, we have Robbie Eagles versus Kushida. Very interesting match. Now don't forget Kushida is one of the top wrestlers in this match. You probably would think that Kushida will definitely be the fan favorite in this match. Well, Robbie Eagle was able to apply a high kick into Kushida and then picking up his next 2 points. So as you know, Kushida's winless record is now broken. He has 6 points with 3 wins and 1 loss. As for Robbie Eagles, he has the total of 4 points with 2 wins and 2 losses. Now back to B block, we have, of course, Blake Christian versus Teton. Teton, as you know, much like Kushida, he was also winless. No, not winless. Undefeated. So, however, the honest thing is, can Blake Christian break the record? Because he's also in that same predicament. However, he was able to apply a 450 splash onto Teton, picking up the win, and now he's currently in the lead with 8 points, with 4 wins and no losses. And as for, of course, Teton, he has 6 points with 3 wins and 1 loss. So anything could happen from here now, as I said before. Now back to B block, we have Francesco Akira versus Taiji Shimori. Now these two guys are no strangers from each other. If you guys remember clearly, it was of course Taiji Shimori who invited Robbie Eagles to join the Bullet Club, and they were tag partners. And now they're the opposite side. I'm sure, of course. No, never mind. My bad. Francesco Akira and Taiji Shimori. Now this is a very interesting match. Ishimori has been one of the top wrestlers in the junior heavyweight division, and Akira is trying to determine to get himself. However, Taiji Shimori, he is also undefeated. The real question is, can he remain that way? That's the obvious question. But of course, it only took one moment for Akira to apply the fireball, giving him his next 2 points with 2 wins and 2 losses. As for, of course, Ishimori, he is still good for now, but he only has 3 wins and 1 loss. So we'll see where we go from here. Now back to B block. We have Kevin Knight versus El Desperado, a very important match. Now, as you know, Despy is one of the most impressive wrestlers in the entire junior heavyweight division. Some people say he is one of the aces, and sort of. But however, it was Kevin Knight's will spirit, his height, that helped him win his match until he applied the spike DDT. Just like that, he won, giving him his next 2 points with 6 points, making him, let's see, with 3 wins and 1 loss. As for Despy, he is currently with 4 points, 2 wins, and 2 losses. So we'll see what happens. Now, Show, that piece of garbage, shows up, make a mockery out of Hiromu Takahashi, saying he's in jail. Hiromu showed up even when his handcuffs were there. However, luckily, Kento Sato showed up to unhandcuff them. But Show would do whatever it takes to beat Hiromu at any cost, even if he has to cut corners to prove a point that he is the best, even though he's not, because he's a scumbag. However, that idiot Yujiro gets in the way, but luckily Bushi was there to deal with him. But it took only the time bomb to take away Show and put Hiromu again. However, Show is not happy with the result. He probably will get his revenge on Hiromu for this loss. So we'll see what happens as we progress. But as of right now, let's keep moving forward. I believe our next review is Stardom. Okay, Stardom, Flashing Champions. Now let's begin with the pre-show of the event. We have Rana Yagami of God's Eye taking on Hina from Queen's Quest. Now we haven't seen Hina for quite some time. She did make her return recently this past weekend. However, as you know, Hina is determined to have a match with her twin sister Rina, who is the current future champion. However, this match could have given her the opportunity to build up momentum for that particular match she wants. However, that did not go well for her because this match ended in a time limit draw in after 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes, yeah, 10 minutes, which is not something that Hina wants. I'm sure that she will find a way to build up momentum that she needs in order to get an opportunity of the future belt. Now let's jump in with our opening match of the main card. We have our first match, a tag team match. We have Starlight Kid and Natsupoi teaming up. The real interesting thing that took place, we saw Starlight Kid dressed up in her star ring gear that we haven't seen in years. I have to say it's amazing. And she is it tried to embrace the whole thing, but they faced against Crazy Star, Meisira, and Suzuki. I thought this match was fantastic. Someone even commented about this that Crazy Star reminded them of Paul London and Brian Kendrick. I could see it, but I don't know. But it's kind of interesting. But unfortunately, that this match, so good it is, it ended up in a 15-minute time limit draw. I don't know what it meant, but however, I think they had a lot of fun on this one. However, I don't. I think many people would like to see Kid join the Cosmic Angels, but however, we don't know. I'm sure she'll be taking some considerations on what she wants to do next. Now, our next match, this is a case of mentor versus student. We have Hanako faces against Maika. Now, ever since, of course, Maika formed EXV alongside with Mina Shirakawa, Waka, and Hanako, this is more of a test for her to face against the Red Belt champion. It has nothing to do with the Red Belt. It's about Hanako, who is determined to grow. And now remember, she did grow a lot of frustrations at the end of last year, at the start of this year, due to Yuzuki. I'm sure she might have thought she would have been the next ace of the future ace of Stardom, but I don't think that's going to happen. Even though Yuzuki is gone, I don't think it's going to mean anything for her at all, knowing that she will never beat her. However, Maika taught her some interesting things when she applied the Michinoku driver, giving her the win. Now, our next match, we have Oedo Tai, consistent of Fukigen Death, Rina, and of course, coming from GTO, um, Azusa Inaba, the sister of Tomoka Inaba, they take on EXV, Waka Tsukiyama, Zena, and Mina Shirakawa. Now, there was a moment we did see, of course, Azusa Inaba did some striking capabilities with Mina Shirakawa. We know Mina does the striking, but I feel that Inaba does it better. But unfortunately, this match ended with, of course, Rina applying the double diving knee drop onto Waka, giving them the win. I'm sure this is a very interesting match because the gauntlet is the one thing that we'll be discussing about. Now, we do have a number one contendership for the artist belts. We do have first team, but before the start of the match, we do have Natsupoi. As you know, we saw her earlier. She had her match. She actually went to the commentary because, of course, many of her teammates from Cosmic Angels are involved in their next upcoming matches. And one of them started in the gauntlet. We have Yuna Mizumori, um, Aya Sakura, and of course, uh, um, Sayaka Kurata as well. So, Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurata. So that's what happened. However, the match started with them taking on Queen's Quest, Masaki, Lady C, and Azumi. Now, of course, me being a fan, I would like to see them win, but however, it was, of course, Lady C who chokeslammed Sakura with the win and letting Queen's Quest to continue. However, Queen's Quest had to continue on when the arrival of star members, Momokogo, and our current God Tag Champions, Azuki and Koguma. You would think that they would have had the better advantage. No, but it was, of course, Azumi with the Azumi Sushi onto Momokogo, giving, of course, Queen's Quest the win, their second win. However, they go against later their longtime rivals, Oedo Tai, consisting of Tekla, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora. But of course, they were going to throw in some aggressiveness. But it was Tekla who picked up the win when she pinned Amasaki. And then their next opponents were, of course, God's Eye. And it was, of course, Watanabe that pinned Konami, giving them the win. So this is a very interesting thing. I'm sure we're going to see how Tekla is going to be happy knowing that she gets her paws onto Mina Shirakawa, who, of course, Mina thinks that she made a big mistake joining Oedo Tai. But we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, our next match is the high speed belt. We have Sareee as the challenger taking on Kamitani. Now, Kamitani has recently won this match not too long ago, back on at the All Star Queendom. This was a very interesting match. Now, I never would have imagined Sareee would jump into the opportunity for a shot of the high speed belt. However, she did pick up pretty good high speed momentum, but unfortunately that wasn't the case because it was, I'm not sure it was a Hurricanrana or a Frankensteiner by Kamitani to put away Sareee in order for her to retain the belt. Now, our next match we have, coming from both SEAdLINNNG and Ice Ribbon, best friends Arisa Nakajima and Tsukasa Fujimoto. They take on star members Hanan and Mayu. Now, those who know this or not, there was a deep history between Nakajima and Fujimoto towards a particular tag team that dates back all the way to 2016. If you guys know who I'm talking about Thunder Rock, consisting of Mayu Iwatani and the current and former WWE champion Io Sky. Now, there was supposed to be a match between those two teams, but it never happened. However, due to the circumstances, Nakajima has announced her retirement. That will happen in August. But however, as for Mayu, she did not have a tag team partner, so she teams up with Hana. Now, you would think that it could be a naive move for her to team up with her. She could have had someone with a much better experience. But Hanan has shown improvement over time, why she should be in this match, and that's exactly what she did. She impressed the hell out of me. She impressed of course, the opponents. That is very impressive. But however, it was a code red by Fujimoto onto Hanan. However, because of this win, Mayu Iwatani laid down the nomination on Fujimoto for the IWGP Women's Championship. However, I think Fujimoto is determined to have this match happen in an Ice Ribbon ring. Some of you would think, why would she want that? Simple. She's the ace of Ice Ribbon, much like Mayu is the ace of Stardom. If you probably ask me who's the ace of Marvelous, simple. That's Takumi Iroha. What about Tokyo Pro Wrestling? Miyu Yamashita. So you probably would know that. But however, we'll see where that leads. I'm sure the IWGP committee will be taking some consideration. Now, our next match is the AEW TBS title, Tam Nakano versus Willow Nightingale. Now, some of you may question why did Tam wanted this match to happen. Simple. She would like to go to Double or Nothing to get her hands on one particular person, and that is Mercedes Moné. She was upset with her because she outstaged her during the Wrestle Kingdom event that she had, where she was in. But however, she has to go through Will Nightingale, a very strong powerhouse, and she applied maybe one or twice the Dr. Bomb until she finally applied it, allowing for her to pick up the win. I mean, Tam went through hell on this one, but I'm sure she'll make her way to have an opportunity for another shot of a title outside of Stardom, even if it's in the US. Now, our main event is, of course, the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Ami Sourei challenges for this belt, and Sareee Noe. Now, Ami Sourei had learned a lot from the time she learned about what Ami Sourei was doing. I think Ami Sourei had to think outside the box to do the one thing that, of course, she has not seen. She applied a German suplex that allowed her to pick up the win, and of course, they did a promo. Ami Sourei said that she'll make her way back to the title. However, Sareee Nui had a little chat with Natsupoi. As you know, people are hoping for this match between those two, but however, Sareee Nui made it clear that even though they want this match to happen, but she feels that maybe there's a part of her that would think that maybe she's not ready just yet. And I think Natsupoi kind of agrees. Maybe it wasn't her time to challenge for this white belt just yet. So we'll hold up on this one. We just don't know. But I hope Natsupoi does win this belt by the end of this year. That is something I could definitely see. So for right now, I think we are done with Stardom. So let's move on with AEW Collision. Okay, AEW Collision opened up with Will Ospreay versus Shane Taylor. Now, before anything could happen, of course, Roderick Strong, along with his teammates Taven and Bennett of the United Kingdom, showed up. And of course, Roderick Strong was saying all this negativity towards uh, Will Ospreay, but of course, Will Ospreay tried to be a smartass, tried to entice Roderick Strong. However, Anthony Ogogo got involved to ensure this match ends with Shane Taylor, but it only took a Stormbreaker by Will Ospreay to pick up the win. But however, once again, the Undisputed Kingdom intending to slow down Will Ospreay, but it failed. Will Ospreay got the last laugh and decided to hitchhike out of course, the ring and stay forward. Now, as you know, because of the situation with the BCC, John Moxley gave some strong words towards Takeshita and all this. And then, of course, Claudio gave his thing like, why are we doing this whole promo things? That's not what we are. You guys talk about this nonsense. We just go into the ring and see what happens from here on out. And I think it's true. So we'll see what happens between both sides. Now, next three matches are involving the FTW um, title qualifier match. We have Hook versus Johnny TV. Of course, we were going to see Taya Valkyrie being there and then cause a distraction, but it did not do any well because it was Hook with the red rum and forcing Johnny TV to tap out. Just like that. Now, our next match, we have Katsuyori Shibata versus Rocky Romero. I thought this match did have some pretty good quality because there was a bit of the technical aspects that these men threw, but however, it was Katsuyori Shibata with the leg lock. Just like that, it was over. And then there's, of course, our last for the qualifiers, Brian Keith versus Boulder. Now, Brian Keith had to deal with, of course, what's his name, Jack Jamison and Bronson. It didn't do any well for them because it was Brian Keith with the flip stunner, and just like that, it was over. Now, Pac, as you know, recently has been unhinged. He seems like he doesn't give a damn what the Bullet Club are thinking, so he's like ignoring them. But we did see them attack them out of nowhere to say that we got your attention now, that sort of thing. But yeah. Now, we do see a moment between Nick Wayne and Christian Cage doing the whole father and son duo, because it was revealed that Nick Wayne will be taking on Swerve Strickland. So of course, Nick Wayne hasn't forgotten what happened last year with Swerve, and he said he wants to deal with him all by himself. Now, our next match, we have Orange Cassidy taking on Isaiah Cassidy. Now, Trent Beretta showed up and once again tried to entice Orange Cassidy, but it did not do any well for him because it was the beach break by him to pick up the win. And then, of course, during the post-match, Trent said something negatively towards, you know, about Orange Cassidy, but Orange Cassidy wasn't going to let that get away with it. And that's pretty much what happened. So we'll see where that leads us from there, because they want this match to happen in Double or Nothing. Now, our next match, we have Serena Deeb versus Anna Jay. Now, don't forget, Serena Deeb does have an opportunity of the women's title this coming Sunday, I believe. No, next week. So we will be seeing what's going to happen. However, Serena Deeb was able to get away from, be smarter with Anna Jay when it comes to the, of course, the Queen Slayer chokehold. It didn't do any well for Anna Jay, but however, it was the Serenity Lock that was the deciding factor. Now, as soon as the match was over, Luther showed up and took Serena Deeb's Deeb's dojo, and then of course Tony Storm was making a mockery out of it. So we'll see what happens between those two. Then our next match, we have Nick Wayne versus Jack Cartwheel, and of course, Nick Wayne decided to take out Jack Cartwheel by applying the house call onto Jack Cartwheel to pick up the win. I'm sure Nick Wayne thinks that he's gonna get what he deserves to beat Swerve. Well, we'll see what happens. Now our main event is Bryan Danielson versus FTR taking on Lance Archer and the Righteous. Now, of course, this is going to be a very interesting matchup. But however, it was a very impressive shatter machine onto Vincent by FTR, and they picked up the win. However, there was a beatdown that was conducted until they won. However, what's his name? Daniel Garcia showed up to save the day. So pretty much that's what happened on Collision. Now let's move on with Rampage. Okay, Rampage. It opened up with Kyle O'Reilly versus Lee Moriarty. Now, of course, Anthony Gogo was going to be there, but Kyle O'Reilly is a tough SOB. He really impressed me with his skills when he applied the armbar onto Lee Moriarty. Now, you would think Lee Moriarty would not give in, but he had to because he had him so deep, he had no choice but to quit. Now, during an interview with the Acclaim by Lexi, of course, Anthony Bowens will be in action to take on Brian Cage, and we'll see where that goes from here. Now, we do see Rush making his return. He deals with Cody Chun. Just like that, it was over. He just beat the crap out of him, and that sort of thing. So, now, our next interview, we do see, Sanjay Dutt said that, of course, there's going to be a target made by FTR. Well, no, never mind. Sanjay Dutt, never mind. There was an interview with Bryan Danielson to give an update what happened to FTR. Well, they said they're not going to be around on Wednesday, but they will be at Double or Nothing. But Bryan Danielson made it clear that, of course, the Elite failed, so that sort of thing is going to be mentioned. Now, our next match, we have Deonna Purrazzo versus Thunder Rosa, of course. But it was Thunder Rosa with the Fujiwara armbar to pick up the win. And as soon as the match was over, Thunder Rosa showed up and then, try to cause all kinds of hell. Now, we do see Sanjay Dutt come out, give a message to, what's his name? To Bryan Danielson as barking orders from the Elite. Satnam Singh will be his opponent. So that's going to be a very interesting thing to watch. Now, our next match, our main event, is Brian Cage versus Anthony Bowens. I thought this match was good. It kind of showed Anthony Bowens what he can do on his own. I mean, many people try to picture it, but unless you've seen it for yourself, you would know. But, however, Brian Cage applied the drill claw, and just like that, it was over. So I think that's pretty much it done with all our reviews. Let's move on with news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now, first things first, we want to give a congratulations to Ruby Soho and Angelo Parker for tying the knot. Now, you probably don't know what I'm referring to. This was posted on a photo by none other than John Silver, better known as Johnny Hungy, on his social media, where you see, of course, they were tying their knot. He says congratulations to the super couple. So it appears that they got married. As you know, Ruby Soho announced that she was pregnant with Parker's child, and you can see the baby bump now after all this time. So it's going to be, I'm very happy for both of them. So as I said, I can't wait to see how both Ruby and Sarah Logan, when they have their kids, they're going to be BFFs. So I can't wait to see that. Now let's begin with some updates with the promotions. We only have two. Evolution, or as known as Evil Girls, has announced for their number 16 event that takes place on June 1st in Shinkiba. Chi-Chi will be in action to take on the ace of Ice Ribbon, Tsukasa Fujimoto. So that's going to be interesting. And then finally, GCW will have their Lights Out event on the 14th of June in Denver. Alley Catch will be in action to take on Man Like Threes. That's going to be interesting as well. Now, on to some developments. As you know, Evil has declared himself as the real IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. It turns out that he told Tokyo Sports that he's threatened the AEW president for allowing a sanctioned match of an eliminator between Jon Moxley and Takeshita. Now, Evil is such a crybaby because he feels that he has the right to deserve this belt. However, Jon Moxley doesn't care. He'll fight anybody, anytime, any place. I think Evil doesn't get that, but yes. Now, Sareee recently just did an interview regarding about very interesting thing. As you know, she has recently been teaming with Arisa Nakajima from SEAdLINNNG. Due to this, is what she had to say about wanting to team with Mayu Iwatani against Best Friends, but will happy to do so with Natsupoi instead. Yes, a match against Best Friends interests me. I wanted to actually do tag team with Iwatani against them as soon as I heard about it, but I guess they had different thoughts. But so maybe tag teaming with Natsupoi, my personal best friend. So it appears that she wanted to team up with Mayu, but it seems that they had other plans. But now that chance could be changed with her teaming with none other than her real life best friend, Natsupoi. So that'll be interesting. PW Insider reports that Athena had injured herself during the ROH tapings. It's still unclear if she's going to be out of action or not. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed towards that. Hideki Suzuki decided to make an appearance to teach the Evo girls Chi-Chi and Zone some techniques for them. However, Suwama decided to challenge for the six-man tag team title. So I don't know what's that all about. But yes. Chigua Nagayo has spoken about disregarding what talking about Rossi Ogawa when he was doing commentary at Noah's recent event Wrestle Magic, saying some snark remarks about Marvelous in particular. This is what Nagayo says. On Ryogoku's show, Rossi was on the commentary, called us a hodgepodge of commoners. After that, Julia said the same thing. Well, what about your place? If you look at Marigold's card, what do you call this? That's right, hodgepodge. So basically, Rossi Ogawa has now decided to disrespect Marvelous. Now, he wasn't going to disrespect Stardom. He feels like he's not going to drag them into the mud. But he's willing to drag the mud on Marvelous. That's kind of messed up. But yes. Now, interesting, as you know, we just talked Flashing Champions with Stardom. As you know, Fujimoto is originally from the Ice Ribbon brand, and Arisa Nakajima is from SEAdLINNNG. However, they had some interesting seconds that made an appearance. For the SEAdLINNNG, there was Mirai, who was one of the new girls, was there too. And as for the Ice Ribbon, we have another girl named Arisa, Ibuki, and Amuka Oshi, and of course Saran were there. So they were playing the seconds for both Fujimoto and Nakajima. And then finally, as you know, Scrypts, who was recently released from the company, he had this to say. I've been really good spirits. It's not how about the couple of years ago when releases happened, people were devastated. I know it's still tough, but I'm in a good headspace. So basically, he's in good spirits. So hopefully, we'll see him somewhere down the line. So I don't know when or where. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for our news updates. So I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. There's a lot of wrestling that I had to cover, and that's going to be a tough one. So I'm just going to wing it for Sunday, and the same thing I'll do on Monday. And I'm also going to be working on the discussion videos towards what's her name, Starlight Kid, and the next Unagi Sayaka watch. So stand by for those videos as we speak. I think that's pretty much it we have. So let's just end it right here. And I'll say this, and I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.